you can only watch it for the first time once. It'll be interesting to see what we catch and what we don't.
Did you ever play the video game Mass Effect?
This is where Babylon 5 is becoming Babylon 5.
That was great. I love that.
100% completely accurate, definitive ranking of Babylon 5.
I love it so much.
We're officially into it, Jeff.
The year is 2025. The name of the podcast, Babylon 5, for the second time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the second time. My name is Brent Allen.
And I'm Jeff Akin. Brent and I used to be Star Trek podcasters, and then we watched Babylon 5 for the first time, and that changed everything. This time now, we're watching this incredible series for the second time, picking up on all the things that we didn't catch the first time around.
But you know what we're still doing? We're still searching for those sci-fi messages we find in the series. You know, those things that give us a hope that things can be better in the future, show us a mirror to society, or just tell us how we can be better folks to each other, how we can be better to each other. Those are the kind of things we're looking for. Heads up to everybody out there. If you have not watched this episode or any future episodes of Babylon 5 past this point, this is your red alert. This is your warning. This is your get off now, because from this point forward, Jeff and I are full of spoilers. We could talk about anything from any episode of anything within the Babylon 5 canon, extra canon, interviews, anything going on whatsoever. Everything is fair game for us to talk about this time around. If it is your first time, we highly recommend stopping right now. Of course, you don't have to, but we recommend stopping right now. And turns out we actually have a whole different show that you guys can go check out right here on the same channel, on the same feed. We didn't even change feeds. Go back to our first watch and join us for that, and then catch back up with us over here. And we'll look forward to seeing you back when you do that. But for everybody else, spoilers ahead.
Today, Brent, we're going to be watching Grail for the second time. I remember my first time viewing of this not being great. I don't remember enjoying this episode very much. The two things that really stand out for me on reflecting on what this episode did for me was David Warner being absolutely incredible. Killing the role, playing opposite a rubber monster and making it entirely believable. And I remember having feelings about Lanier.
What were your early Lanier opinions? I don't remember.
Oh, I did not like Lanier.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think that's right. I don't remember Lanier being in this episode at all.
Oh God.
Not at all.
I remember him like gross peanut butter all over it. Like it's just, he gets in all the cracks and doesn't clean up. And it's, yeah.
Whoa. You know, here's the thing. I know exactly what you're talking about, and it makes me like, that is cringe. That is ick. That's ugh.
It's so gross.
Ugh.
Do you remember what your first time was like? What your first reactions were?
Here's the thing, Jeff. I really learned after last week when we were talking about TKO, what I remember about an episode, I think is entirely colored by the rest of the series reflecting back on that episode. Like, I don't know that I remember. You're going to ask me this. What is this? This is episode 14. So you're going to ask me this 97 more times, 96 more times. And my answer to you is generally going to be, I don't remember what I thought about it when I first saw it, but my impression of the episode right now, as I think back on it, do you understand the difference? I don't remember what I originally thought, but my impression of it right now was bad episode, phenomenal guest actor. That's the thing I remember. I also am incredibly aware that everything gets dropped and never brought back up again. We never see the Grail Hunter thing again. We never see Jinxo again. I know David Warner's character dies, but we never see anything this episode. We never see the feeder again. The only thing that we got out of this episode was basically just drilling down on information that we already know, which is what happened to the previous Babylon 5 station.
Oh, Brett, I listened to our last episode.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you want to hear what you actually thought?
How was it? How was it? Was it forget the Grail. Were Jeff and Brent entertaining?
We were fun to listen to because I feel like we had thoughts on this episode and that like we had some fun with what we felt on it.
Okay. Let's keep that spirit today.
I think it's a good idea. You said that this episode is very, very season 1. And your exact quote was, I don't not like it, but I don't like it. You had the idea of, instead of us just playing the music and us doing this, For audio listeners, I'm just staring off into nothing
Uh-huh.
while it plays, to actually put together like an opening video to play.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
That's yeah. Professional YouTubers do that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh. I really liked the Londo stuff in this episode, but I thought that the soundtrack,
I don't remember Londo either. Go ahead. Sorry.
I felt like the soundtrack really took away from it. It made it feel like it was a sitcom.
Was this a Chris Frankie?
I think he did
Episode?
everything at this point.
Okay.
Was still
Oh
doing
yeah, I
that.
guess they don't really change their score or people.
And I said, if this Grail thing doesn't pay off, I'm going to be very upset. Well, Brent, this is me being very upset.
You didn't even remember that until you watched or listened back to the episode.
Not at all. No. We spent a tremendous amount of time talking about how great David Warner was.
Yeah.
And then we talked about, for a tremendous amount of time, you identifying the Knuckling Feeder as an adult film prop reject. But actually, even with it
I'm
being
a funny
that,
guy.
you are hilarious. We talked about the fact that they dropped, or that we were worried they were going to drop the Grail thing. And so we decided that the Grail is the end of the personal journey of the Seeker. So basically, the Seeker has some healing to do, and the Grail is their healing. And then they pass it on to a new Seeker who then seeks their Grail.
I see. Okay.
I talked about my feelings on Lanier.
Okay.
I called him a sycophant and said that I really just want to punch him in the face. And part of that was we learned, right? We had a huge realization with the Minbari in this one. And that's that they are from a caste system. And there are two castes. Two.
That's right. Thank you to everybody who kept the 2 in line. Oh no, there's actually 3. I remember that from the comments all the time. I was like, dude, they've only told us about 2.
I don't think it was. I don't know if it's this one. That
Is
they drilled
this
down.
where we started the no spoil? Like we started really trying to get serious about the no spoilers stuff.
It might have been right around.
I
People
wonder.
started.
I wonder if this is where we're kind of getting into that because it's got to be soon.
Yeah, it was
that
either
we start
here,
really going stop.
either here or Legacies, maybe, because that's when we like started getting into stuff.
Is that the one with the girl?
That's the one with Naroon and the girls in that one also. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you called out, kind of inadvertently, a real pattern that we'll see throughout the series. But
Oh
like,
yeah.
we've seen Veer take some steps of growth, right? Like he stood up to
Okay.
Londo not too long
Yeah,
ago
yeah.
and stuff. Said this one's a few steps backwards for
Oh.
him. And we kind of see that, right?
Yeah.
He takes a couple up and then he kind of steps
He comes
back.
coming back. That's an interesting observation. Like knowing where Veer's path leads him to,
Mhm.
all the way to the emperorship without a keeper, leading him to stabbing Cartagia in the neck? Was it his neck?
It was
or
right in the
back?
chest.
It's chest. Oh, it was
Right in the
his chest.
heart. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Hearts. One of the hearts. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got more than one, right? Yeah, interesting. I don't know. Sorry, I wanted to think about that for a moment.
Yeah. Well, I think about like, we see him get
Yeah.
better and better. Then we have like, there's remarkable setbacks for him. Like
Yeah.
when Londo sends him off to Minbar, right? Like that's a step back, but then he
Yeah,
turns
but then he
that
comes
into,
back. Yeah,
Mhm.
it turns out he was awesome at it and became a Freedom Railroad train driver guy.
Abrahamo
thing.
Lincoln.
Right?
Uh-huh. But it all kind of like ramped up to that 5th season episode where he got the sword and went running.
And he
with
went
his
Fruit
Zocalo.
Ninja on.
Uh-huh. And from there, goosh,
Yeah.
it just was up and up.
He was great.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's what we talked about
interesting.
in this thing. You looked at the Lurker's Guide. What did JMS have to say?
Yeah, JMS had quite a bit to say. Did you
Oh.
know the Knockoline Feeder? We were talking about how really well done for its time. This is the first fully CG character we've had in Babylon 5.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm. Our guest star, David Warner. His character name is Aldous Gajic.
Something like that.
His first name is actually Mira Furlan's husband's first name.
Really?
Completely a nod to him. Yeah, just keeping it in the family, just a nod to him.
That's cool.
This episode's written by Christy Davidson, something like that.
Okay.
So this is not a JMS episode, although he did go into the episode was running just a little bit short, and he's like, this gives me an opportunity to do something I've always wanted to do, which is he insert the alien scene.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
the court, yeah, like
The court scene?
Yeah. He did that whole piece. So
Yeah,
that one was all JMS.
Nia in the chat, Christy Marks.
Christy Marks, there it is. Yeah, there it is. She did a lot of other like comic book writings and TV shows. I think he probably knew her when he was doing like He-Man and Real Ghostbusters and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Grail was not JMS's favorite episode.
that's good.
It was not. He blames, though, his reason is he sees flaws in this episode that nobody else sees.
Okay.
I really want to know, elaborate on that. Like, tell me, like, I want to know.
Yeah.
You know? But he said he actually gathered some people to do some screenings of this episode, and the reactions to it were generally positive, but he still's like, meh. So he also notes, though, in talking about the screening reactions, that there were some people when they did that for the episode Infection that they declared it as the best episode of the season.
Wow.
So he's like, take that for what you will.
This is what happens when you surround yourself with yes men.
John Flynn is the director of photography for the show. Apparently he had been an actor at some points in the course of his life. So he got to step in and play the character Mr. Flynn as well. There was a question on whether or not the feeder is sentient.
Yes.
Did we ever talk about that in our
we
episode?
interrogated that deeply. That's actually why I burned through my Star Trek references so quickly.
So here's the thing. What he says specifically regarding that is neither Sinclair nor anyone else on our side of the story ever heard it speaking. All they knew it was a killer, it was dangerous, and it had to be stopped. That's all he said. He
Okay.
did not confirm whether or not it's sentient. He just said from our side of it, did not seem sentient.
Because it's got a scene where it's like, I need more food. Feed me.
Even JMS talking about this episode says this story is fairly self-contained and there's not pretty much anything in here that's related to the arc. He fully confesses that.
Yeah, good.
I thought this was actually rather neat. It requires a bit of a story, so I can't do this while we're in the middle of the episode. So, Jinxo survives all 5 Babylon stations, and he leaves the station as the new Grail Seeker guy, thinking that all is well. And the name of the ship that he leaves on is the Marie Celeste. JMS chuckles, says this is a bit of perverse humor. He says, to quote, we're a sick bunch, but we're fun. Now, the reason why that works is because the reference to the Marie Celeste is a sailing ship that was found adrift in the sea in 1872 by the crew of the Gracia.
Okay. Yeah.
The Celeste crew was completely missing, as was its single lifeboat, but there were a bunch of like half-eaten meals apparently all over the mess hall, which is just evidence that they all left really, really suddenly. Investigators, however, had found that the captains of the 2 ships had actually had dinner the night before they both set sail. There was a lot of conjecture to say that the crew of the Gracia actually stopped and attacked the Marie Celeste and just killed everybody on board and threw them in the ocean.
As you do.
But they had no evidence to support it, so they had to let them go. So, you know, the Marie Celeste is a ghost ship where nobody survives. And now we're going to take Jinxo, who's leaving the station thinking everything's good, and put him on the ghost ship where nobody survives. Maybe that's why we never got a follow-up to this, is because Jinxo didn't make it off the Marie Celeste. Now, here's the other one that I found rather interesting, because I remember you and I having conversations about this quite a bit over several episodes, but I'm curious, Jeff, if we talked about it a lot during this episode. Did we talk about what a cycle is?
We did.
The time unit of cycles.
Yeah.
Right.
What's 300 cycles? How long is that?
What does that mean? Okay, here we go. At one time, they were trying to work out what a time reference would be on Babylon 5. One of the early things they talked about were cycles, but in fairly short order, they decided against it because it just didn't mean anything. Didn't mean anything. They had nothing. You assume it's the number of times the station spins around, but what does that mean? It doesn't, there's just nothing. However, it wasn't until after Grail had been produced that they decided not to use cycles, and they couldn't dub over the references.
Oh, okay.
They couldn't, they couldn't get the lips, I guess, to work. So they left it in as cycles for this episode, but they never mention it again.
Well, they've mentioned cycles in past episodes.
Yes.
So,
but it was here that they were like, no more, stop it.
Draw the line here. And no further.
No further. Jeff, let's get into this episode. That's all we have to talk about.
All right, cool. Let's go watch it. If you're joining us here for the first time, Brent and I are going to watch the episode right here, right now, and you get to join us. If you're on YouTube watching us, and you're going to see the cut up kind of reaction to the whole thing, and if you want to see the entire unedited thing with the full episode and all the cool stuff that we do, before, after, and in the middle, a little thing we call 63, 64, and 65, you can get that on our Patreon page at patreon.com/Babylon5First. It's the number 5 and the word first.
With that, Jeff, let's do it.
Let's get in there.
Babylon Control, this is Transport Von Braun requesting docking clearance.
Von Braun.
Cleared for
Von
docking
Braun.
in Bay 7.
Acknowledge Babylon Control. We are proceeding
I like
to
seeing what's her name, Ivanova, just sitting there in her chairs, like squeaking
Right.
back and forth. Like, all right, whatever. You're good. Just listen. Once you're inside the station, don't fire your engines.
Yeah.
That goes bad,
Don't run into anything.
right?
I'm surprised to see you here. Aren't you going to greet our distinguished guest?
I wasn't informed.
You will just have time to change if you hurry.
Oh, are we down below?
Yeah.
Boarding me.
Uh-oh.
Hadn't I
Okay,
been
this
good to
guy
you?
comes back though, yeah?
Done you
Yeah,
a
in
lot of favors?
third space, I think.
Huh? Loaned
Oh,
you
is it
money
third
when you
space?
needed it?
Yeah.
Sure. Station security's been closing doors on me. I need to open up some new supply quarters.
With that accent,
help
you
build
know,
this
like,
place.
there's something really not good about
You
to
know the
happen.
ins and outs.
As a hillbilly born and bred, I'm a little offended. And I'm completely choosing it. She's Native American, right?
Yeah, we talked
Get
quite a
some
bit
Native
about
American
that.
representation. I remember that now, yeah.
There it is.
Dude, she's about to get slapped in the face with a tentacle. Dude, that's dirty.
You get the message, Jinxo? Ambassador Kosh.
Like-
Oh my god, it's Kosh that's doing it, and Kosh has tentacles.
It was the dawn of
Well,
the
was that
third
his
age
hand that he
of
got slapped with?
mankind.
See,
10 years
I'm
after
still
the
bothered by
Earth
the fact he
Minbari
had a
War,
hand that they could
The
poison
Babylon
with.
project was a dream
At
in
all.
form.
He couldn't get a job.
It said David
His
Flynn the
children were
third
shut
right
out from everybody
under
in
him. That was
town.
good.
Nobody
timing.
believed him. And that's why I'm here today, Your Honor. We went through their
So
archives
bored.
and found
Just like,
proof.
oh my God.
His great-grandfather abducted my great-grandfather.
That's good
and
makeup.
Just took him away in a spaceship.
It's so hard for me not to look at this and think the Asgard. Like,
Oh yeah.
where we go with the Asgard and Stargate versus what they're saying. Like, because they're each putting their spin on the Roswell aliens, right?
Do we have the privilege of greeting all the skies?
Ambassador
Yikes.
Devane, I did not expect to meet a person of such importance.
You know, it's pretty cool
I
he doesn't
take it
call
that
her
you are
Sakai.
Nia.
Right.
Like, he's clearly talking about her as a
I'm
great
very
council
pleased.
member, right?
This is
And
Commander
he
Sinclair.
is aware enough
This is my
not to use that
security
title.
chief, Mr. Garibaldi.
I sent information packets ahead to the ambassadors to facilitate my mission when I arrived.
Which ambassadors?
I
All
am
of them?
seeking
Because
a
your
sacred vessel
Sinclair
of
is the Earth
generation.
ambassador.
I think he just
Shouldn't
means.
be.
Also,
but-
as
I think he just means the
a
Minbari.
goddess,
That's why.
Well, he said
Colin's here.
ambassadors
commonly
plural.
named the Holy Grail.
Garibaldi. Oh, jeez.
Garibaldi just did
The
what
Holy
everybody watching this episode did.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this is almost as bad as like, hey, what's
The
your
last
name?
several.
Arthur
Has many
Pendragon.
names, but only one
Oh,
promise.
is it?
But there is nothing about what he is saying that contradicts what I was saying about the Grail not actually being a physical thing, but being
Like the journey.
the journey and being this healing thing that they're actually seeking. You know? And then finding somebody else and passing it on. Like, he totally just pickpocketed him, dude.
Hold it right there.
And
How
very
did
clumsily.
Garibaldi see that?
It's on the other side of the
No
bulkhead.
way he saw that.
Needed the money.
She was found right after the wipe, so there is a good chance.
Doesn't she have a
It looks like
tentacle
he-
flop
She's
on
lost
her
her entire
face?
life experience, so we'll have to retrain her from infancy back to adulthood. Now, it won't be easy.
Just got the word.
Did you ever read
Another
the book
lurker
Flowers for
has
Algernon?
brain most.
Yeah, way back.
Make me a happy man.
Didn't-
Let me
It's
clean
kinda-
out down below.
Kind of the
If I put
thing.
all
Didn't
my
they
tunes out, I could wipe
did a
out
show
9/10
called
of
Char?
the
Was it
crime rate in
Charlie?
one sweep.
The
Most of
adaptation
them are
of
just
that?
people with
Was
nowhere
it?
else to
I
go.
think
They
maybe
come here
I'm
looking
aware
for
of
a new life.
This is where we really actually get introduced to the concept of down below.
Miriam running, dear.
Is it? Okay.
Because he just kind of explained why people end up down there.
Yeah.
And if it is?
This soundtrack right here that I'm listening to, or sound effects, or whatever this is very Space Mountain-y.
It really is.
It's very space. It's very. We don't know what the future is going to be like, so let's make it this.
Put me in jail. Make me clean the methane toilets. I don't care.
The
I can
methane
stay on the station.
toilets.
That's the end of the
Jeff?
station, and every man and
We got to talk about what the hell a methane toilet is.
Methane toilet.
Methane is the gas that ekes out your. woo-woo. What is a methane toilet?
I guess it's probably what the Pomeroy use. It's the only thing I can think of.
That's gross.
So yeah.
God,
Hey,
that's gross.
put this stuff that smells like methane into the methane.
Ooh. Ooh.
It's gross.
Ooh.
Ombuds Wellington, if I could have a word.
Approach.
He's like, sure. Random person with a stick.
Right?
Come on up.
240 cycles left.
Counting down the cycles. It's a good thing to do that right in the middle of the court there, Deuce.
Yeah.
Tell me, how did you get this Babylon curse?
Don't you get it?
No, that's
Did
why
you
I'm
ever wonder what
asking.
really happened to the
Right?
first 4 Babylon stations? I did. I don't have the curse. I am the curse.
I remember thinking this was going to be like some big revelation.
The firm's still owned by contract until the
You know,
station
for
was
this
finished.
being this
I took
guy's
leave a
first
second time,
IMDb
and that
credit,
station was sabotaged.
he's not doing awful.
When B3 blew up, well,
No.
that's
Here's
when
the
I
thing.
got the
I
name
don't.
Jinxer.
I don't think he's
When I went
playing
to work on B4,
poorly,
I didn't
right?
take any leave. I was there
Um,
every minute until we
but
finished it.
David Warner is just.
As I was leaving in
Yeah.
the shuttle, I looked back.
I mean, he's
wrong
playing the
nickname.
character
I should
as it
have
was
thought you
written.
lucky.
Like,
How do you figure?
To have escaped the worst.
And I
each
love
time,
this.
that's a
Just
very,
reframe
very
that whole
lucky
thing.
man. Perhaps each time you were exactly where you were meant to be.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, well, that'd be $140. I don't accept insurance.
I understand how you feel, but
Look
you
at
can't
it.
post
David
security
Warner
men
just
everywhere to
sat
pitch
there,
Deuce in the act.
didn't
You need to
move.
find another witness.
and just
The word gets out about Miriam, I've got as
and
much chance of
killed
doing
it.
that.
Turned up a quasi-sentient beast called a Nakaline.
Quasi-sentient.
Heavy quarantine in the Centauri sector.
I do love that he's
In the casino.
in the casino.
Yeah.
Ambassador.
Sinclair, my good friend.
I'm almost disappointed
What
this
can I do
set
for
went
you? A
away.
drink, perhaps?
I'm looking for some information on a life form in Centauri jurisdiction. A Nakaline feeder.
Yeah, I'm just randomly curious about this. This taking somebody else's drink.
There couldn't be. Here?
So you
It is my
made a
sorrow
pretty
to tell you
huge
that it-
proclamation about Michael O'Hare in this episode. You said,
Oh,
no,
yeah, you. I said a lot of stuff about Michael O'Hare around this time, and it's not a lot of good. Go ahead.
yeah, we were bemoaning Sinclair just not being into it, being wooden and all
Yeah.
that. And you're like, you know what? I'm done. I'm just done. It's not that Sinclair is a poorly written character. It is that Michael O'Hare is a bad actor, and I'm done talking about it. What a different perspective we have on him on this second viewing.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yep.
I think like we talked, I think it was last week, he just looked tired, you know, or whatever. And he might be a little uninspired here, but by no means would I ever describe him as a bad actor at this point.
He's not the worst actor in this episode by
That's
far.
for darn sure. Yeah.
By far.
You have been kind beyond my expectations.
He went through all that to make the drink, and he's like, no thanks.
There are 2 castes of Minbari.
2 castes.
The warrior caste and the religious caste.
That's it. No moss.
The warrior caste would not understand.
That's why we thought there were 2 castes.
They outright said it.
He
Exactly.
literally says there are 2 castes.
Mhm.
Now you can retcon that and you can be like, well, yeah, there are 2 castes, but there's also a third one. And that one does not necessarily you can
Mhm.
you can squeeze that out, but anyone who is watching this for the first time with no further knowledge,
That's what you got.
you just heard there's 2 castes in the Minbari culture. And that's the information you got to go on.
That's the revelation from this whole episode.
The warrior caste and the religious caste.
Nia in the chat asked a really poignant question.
So,
Who are you
will
going to
you look at
believe?
them
The show
and
or the
stare into
fans?
confusion?
Whoa. What she just said there?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And when they do, it's a terrible thing. That line is entirely different having seen Atonement
Mm-hmm.
and seeing what happens when the warrior caste and the religious caste look at each other and be like, yeah, go get them. Bad things happen.
Bad things.
That's got to be what she's talking about in that moment.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Absolutely. But then to play it all the way through to when Delenn reforms the Grey Council and the whole government and does so on the back of Naroon, essentially, you know, with not like her stepping on him, but, you know, his sacrifice.
Yep.
It was such an extreme disagreement that he actually crossed castes to come to the other side. And then something that we can presume is great came out of it.
What I forget all he says, but he goes, "But my heart is religious caste." Was it really, or you just realized that you were being a dillweed?
Yeah.
Like that's anyway.
Let us hope it never again happens in our lifetime.
Yeah, your fault, Dylan, is your fault.
Yeah.
You cast the deciding
I
vote.
heard
That
there
means
was a
you're
problem.
fully responsible.
Dude, his face there was amazing. Like, that was
I don't
great.
care who authorized it. I don't care how old the quarantine is.
Fear just
I
looks
don't
like he has
care
a severe
about
case of
the
bedhead right
budget.
now.
And I certainly don't care about how much trouble it is for you. Now.
You know what's really
What
interesting
are
to me
they
about this
doing in
scene right
here?
here?
That he swiped to end the call. It was so ahead
He
of its
swiped
time.
right. No, the pillow on the couch behind him. It's so bright and the colors pop off. I mean, so it's sitting on this deep purple couch with a velvet blanket over the top of it. And here's his pillow with bright royal blue, a black and white checkered thing, some pink roses, it looks like, in it, and maybe a brown kitty cat or dog or so. I don't know what that is, but it's so like the color is so different than everything else in the shot.
They're like, we need a pillow. And like, well, Jake Sisko's not going to wear this thing. Let's just make a pillow out of it.
Nor is Wesley Crusher.
Yeah.
I was hoping with a long trade history.
I'm sorry, Jeff. I don't mean to keep pausing this, but Ben brings up something in our council chambers that maybe it should have been a feeder that was the monster in Grey 17.
That would have been better.
How would that have changed that episode, you think?
I don't think it would have, outside of then people couldn't be like, well, look how dumb the monster looks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, Ben. That's a good point. Ben also says headcanon pillow is a gift from Garibaldi. That's why he's his dear good friend.
Exactly. Give him
Between
that pillow.
Earth and Centauri that you would make a good, very long time. But eventually I went back to work, but the numbers didn't add up anymore. Nothing made sense anymore. So finally one day I just left.
I love that. He was an accountant. He went back to work and the numbers didn't add up anymore. I love that.
It's a good metaphor.
Uh-huh.
I had been spared.
Survivor's guilt.
And
Man,
then
he's
the man
saying it while he's whispering.
said he was the last of his kind. And now I'm the last. But the numbers add up again, Thomas.
I like that. I believe everything he's saying. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Until such time as both the defendant and the plaintiff can come to some reasonable solution to the problem of jurisdiction, this court will recess for 30 minutes.
Oh, bathroom scene, right? Where he gets jacked.
Uh-huh. Oh,
So what does this Grail look like?
right into the methane
Made of
toilets.
Gold, jewels, that sort of thing?
I don't know. I've never seen it. Sometimes it's the search that counts, not the finding.
Hey, Jigsaw, it's time.
I have 82 cycles left.
He's got a big A stick. Y'all better leave.
Get lost.
And he is
You
a
know
Jedi.
that I was gonna say you see him about to go Yoda on these.
Uh-huh.
You care so much for the people on this station.
He's setting him up already
Stay
to
here
bring
at
him
the
on
risk of
board.
Your own life. You are
Uh-huh.
a fine, good man, Thomas. See yourself for what you are, not what others try to make you.
That's really great advice.
Yep.
Ambassador.
No! Get away from him! Get away! We've got to get out of here. He'll eat your mind.
Get away!
Okay.
I saw him do it.
That was a
Suck your
bad
brain
acting
dry.
spot right there.
Yeah.
The way he's going around to all the ambassadors, he sent letters to other ambassadors.
Yeah.
He just didn't send one to Sinclair, who is the de facto ambassador for Earth. He should have sent one to Sinclair.
Although I think he doesn't care about talking to Earth. He's searched Earth.
He's from Earth. That's fair. Dude, that thing's spinning really kind of fast.
Uh-huh. It'd be a
89
lot of
ships came
cycles.
through this
Like
framework.
that feels like it could take
Half of them were in proximity to the
a
quarantine
minute
planet.
to go around.
Eliminating those with
Yeah. David Warner puts on a clinic in this scene.
Right?
Excuse me while I whip this out.
This man is under my protection.
What are you doing?
Save yourself!
Here we go. So did you and I think this is what Kosh was when we first saw him?
No.
He's got a third leg. No, if I remember right, we questioned whether or not this was a Vorlon or whether this was...
A little bit, but I think we knew it was a feeder. but thought maybe. What we ended up doing is saying that this is the prototype for species 8472.
Well, because of the way it's walked.
What's the situation?
My parents went away on a week's vacation, and they left the keys to the brand new Porsche. Would they mind? Well, of course not. He's holding that thing like a staff weapon.
Right, yeah.
Like he's gonna shoot it. He's gonna have to get slapped with a tentacle.
Right. Peter's like, well, I mean, no one's watching. Might as well slip this in. Sometimes you need more food. Richer food.
I feel like I should try that and see if it works.
Toss!
Honey. Oh. Okay. He got shot in the shoulder.
High up on the shoulder, too. I would say he got grazed.
And he took it in the meat of the arm.
This makes sense. They didn't see it do anything, and it was literally setting up to attack.
So, note by JMS at this point. An early version of the story had actually had Kosh appearing out of nowhere to scrag the feeder, he says.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, those are words that JMS uses on the regular. And then he was going to say the line, "Some things we do not allow." But they thought it seemed kind of un-Kosh-like on one level, and it repeated the Deathwalker finish. So,
yeah.
Good move. Good call. Let Sinclair be the hero here. Although I get the poetry of this thing's been posing as Kosh for Kosh to show up and be like, no. Also, that's my Tuesday suit.
Right, yeah. I've been looking for that.
Yeah.
Please sanitize it and return.
I had to wear my Wednesday suit on Tuesday, and I was not happy.
Medical emergency in Brown 9.
I name Thomas heir and successor. Everything I have.
Which is like
I
the
witnessed
stick.
this last testament.
Wouldn't it be great if the stick was just full of like gold coins?
Right? Just,
you know, like, oh, and you're now rich.
The staff was actually the Grail. I've been holding it the whole time.
Right.
That's a pretty peaceful way to die from a PPG shot.
Yeah.
Just very calm.
Well, I mean, when you get shot in the shoulder, it's just an easy way out. That's
Yeah.
how I want to go out, really, is being shot in the shoulder.
Totally. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people die a day on Babylon 5.
I mean, it's a town of 250,000 people, right?
Yeah.
I thought Jinx was
So
supposed
people
to be
should
the
be
same
born every day and die every
home.
day.
Yep.
Like, that's a big
Haven't
enough
seen it.
population, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it figures.
Also, you'd figure you'd have more than just an
Jinx is not the type to
ombudsman.
keep promises.
Right, just the one?
Like, yeah. Like, you should have a whole courthouse system going on there. He looks like he's wearing his dad's suit.
He kind of is.
Put this on the ground where he rests and crush it.
It's a ladybug. We hate them.
Here, it is our way with all true seekers.
And now you're going to get one.
Thank you.
If we find your body.
If we can salvage anything.
Right. I wonder if Delenn has like gone to like bow her head and like her head bone like hit something.
Good luck.
She just bowed a little too deeply.
For what it's worth, I hope you find it.
Hey, take care, Jinxo.
Thomas.
Oh, look at that. I'm a growed up now.
My name is Thomas.
Me llamo Tomás.
That sounds really cool, Jeff.
Are you sure it's dead?
I'm positive.
How do you know it's not just resting? Feelers are sneaky, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty smeared on the ground, the deck. Like,
When they're about to attack, they get quiet. So the key is, as long as you can hear them, as long as there's noise around, you're safe. But if you ever hear nothing,
run.
It's interesting. It's very interesting.
Londo's buying that. Shutting him out. Londo!
Oh, here goes the music cue. Time for the haha.
Ambassador?
It is hilarious. This is pretty
Londo.
hilarious.
Open the door, Londo. Ambassador, it's not funny.
I like
Open
how
the
he
door,
has that
Londo.
90s, like, I'm going to wear an undershirt, but then I'm going to wear the short
There he
sleeve
goes.
overshirt on top of
Yes,
it.
uh-huh.
A long sleeve undershirt.
Thomas.
You never did tell me what you thought about that curse.
What curse?
You know, that bit about if he leaves Babylon 5, the same thing that happened to Babylons 1, 2, 3, and 4 would happen to us.
So
Me?
what?
No.
If we're going to get all four of them, we're going to blow up and disappear.
Yeah.
Right.
Into time.
No boom?
No boom today.
No boom.
No boom today.
Oh.
Boom tomorrow. There's always a boom tomorrow.
That one line right there justifies this entire episode.
Look, somebody's got to have some damn perspective around here. Boom. Sooner or later. Boom!
All worth it. The last 3 hours and 14 minutes.
You know, she's not wrong. Sooner or later, even Babylon 5.
Yeah.
I mean, it was more of a...
Yeah.
Sorry to draw tears out there, folks, but...
Well, Brent, that's it. We just watched Grail for the second time. Anything you want to touch on that we watched in that?
You know, Jeff, back when we watched By Any Means Necessary,
okay,
we talked about how we would have just rather watched Star Trek than that episode. Whether we also talked quite a bit in our first response of like, I don't ever need to see this episode ever again unless I'm doing a rewatch.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about this episode at this point. I honestly came into this episode feeling this way. And if I'm being real honest, and I really wish that I was way higher on the second watch. I'm feeling the same way leaving this episode as I really kind of went into it. Like, I still think it's a fine episode. You could put it on at any point. David Warner is phenomenal. You know what I find myself saying coming out of that? Cool. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just like, How about you?
I actually got quite a bit more out of it this time.
Did you?
So there's two sides. Two sides.
I'm glad somebody did, Jeff. I'm really glad somebody did. Go ahead.
I think on one hand, the first time viewing was maybe a little more exciting because we kept looking for things, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, will this be something? Will this be something? And there is stuff they talk about in here that you're like, oh, that's going to be something. It turns out it's not. But I think knowing that it's not this time, a big part of my brain kind of shut off, right? It's like, I'm not going to look for those seeds or whatever. And I think that opened me up to like, one of the things that I often talk about to people, we've talked about it on this program and on our Stargate show as well. But like, if you, the Gandhi phrase, right? Be the change that you want to see in the world. You know, that whole thing, like just be the thing. That's what all those guys did. Like his presence alone made a difference in the lives of a lot of people. Thomas, most remarkably, but also if you remember the very first scene when they said searching for the Grail and Garibaldi rolls his eyes and then juxtapose that with the very last scene where he's like, hey, careful with that thing. Treat it with respect. Right. With the thing, like his whole perspective changed. And Warner didn't do anything. He didn't preach nothing. He didn't, talk about, well, the Grail this, the Grail that. He just was. He simply was. And he changed people because of that. Even the feeder, right? The feeder's like, okay, I can take this little countersuit thing off because you're cool. I liked that part of the show. I liked it. Also, I don't ever want to watch this one again.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm good. Did
you get any other message stuff out of this one?
I mean, there's the surface level messages, seeking and finding and respect and this, that. I've got to imagine we covered all of that in the first run.
Yeah.
And I don't want to rehash all that. Like everything that this episode is saying is so right there in front of you.
Yeah, you gave this one 3 deltas on the first first go. Yeah, really focused on how Aldos's whole thing was to lift the people around him.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we saw here, right? We see yourself for what you are, not who they think you are. And the line he said, my brother's burden is my own. That whole thing there. I gave it 1 delta. I said, yeah, it had some really great stuff about mentorship in it, but no real message. And I feel about the same. Like, yeah, there's that stuff in there, but it's not a message. It's just the story.
Yeah. I'm going to stand by my 3 Delta rating on that because
Yeah.
I do think there was a lot of messages. Were they intentional on the part of the writer or were they just contained within the story? I couldn't really tell you. I don't know. I am just fully confident we tackled them all already.
Yeah. Well, we are creating the absolutely definitive and objectively correct ranking of the second time viewing of Babylon 5. I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to read our bottom 5 for us. We have in number 14, last place right now, Survivors. 13 is Soul Hunter. 12 is Infection. Number 11 is Mind War. And in number 10 is Midnight on the Firing Line. Brent, where are you putting Grail?
You know, Jeff, you're right to start at the bottom instead of the top for this particular group. So here's the question. Here's the old litmus test here. Which episode would I rather watch again?
Yeah.
All right. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up. Right? Survivors. Would I watch David Warner or Liana Kemmer again? I'm going to watch David Warner again. I would take this episode over Survivors. Okay. Soul Hunter. I'm stopping.
You're thinking.
Because let me tell you what, when we watched Soul Hunter the second time around, knowing what we know now, there's so much more in Soul Hunter than we ever knew. So much more in Soul Hunter than we ever knew. Is it still a great watch? I think it's better than we remember. And this episode is exactly what I remembered it being. Jeff, for me, right now, recency bias being not even a thing. An honest, objective, and correct assessment of this.
Right. Immutable.
I would rather watch Soul Hunter again. So this is our new number 14, pushing Survivors down to 15. Infection and Soul Hunter are higher than the David Warner episode.
Wow. What a change from our first time ranking. Where do you think we ranked this first time?
This had to be way higher. Because, and you know what it was? I think we had the David Warner glasses on.
Yeah.
You know what happened, Jeff? Okay, let's just say this. You and I have a lot of respect for David Warner.
Yes.
You and I as two Star Trek dudes, particularly, but David Warner's so good. And we have a nostalgia with him. We look at this episode the way that some of the folks out there look at Late Delivery from Avalon.
Fair.
Right? They see Michael York. They saw Michael York in another role. They absolutely loved him in, and they put these rose-colored glasses on over that episode. Yeah, I'm calling it out. You and I think the first time around, we saw this episode, but then we saw David Warner, and we were like, yeah, but he just made the episode so much better. And the episode, I do think, has messages contained in it, although very surface level. So I could see. I'm going to guess. Okay, you asked me to guess. I'm going to say it was number 11.
Not bad. Number
Was
12.
it 11?
Number 12.
Number 12. Okay.
Yeah. It was above Infection and Soul Hunter, Mind War, Survivors, Midnight on the Firing Line, Born to the Purple, and Parliament of Dreams. So we very, like, even from the stuff we watched so far, we had it very high up.
Yeah. Now, but think of the switch here between this and By Any Means Necessary. We came out of the first watch of By Any Means Necessary going, I never have to see that episode again. I come out of it now going, I could watch that episode again.
Yeah. Yeah. By Any Means Necessary was number 11 for us. So they were right next to each other.
I also didn't like Signs of Importance a ton. Like, it was fine. I didn't like it a ton the first time we saw it, and it's our current number 1.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it ended at number 8 for us. The S&P did. All right, Brent, well, that's it for Grail. Next week, we're going to be watching Eyes for the second time. Do you, Brent, remember your prediction for Eyes?
Yeah, let's see here. I said it was going to be a love story.
Oh.
This is like Taylor Swift. This is the Taylor Swift episode of season 1 is what it is. It's a love story. Somebody's going to be up to something. And, basically it's like they're going to see somebody like the first person walking on the station or something like that. And like the first person they see, they're going to fall in love because they take a potion or a alien thing that just does whatever. And they suddenly fall in love, or I don't know, they crack out of an egg and the first person they see, they latch on to, and, you know, eventually you go on to become like a really badass X-Men. So
I'm going to totally like just watch whoever the first person is on the station, probably Ben Zane, and be like, there's the love interest.
Oh my word. This is the Ben Zane episode and the Jeffrey Combs episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not great in this one, but still.
I got to tell you, I am really looking forward to watching this one for the second time.
No, you're not.
Just because like it was so over the top terrible the first time that like it's either going to be a fun ride or it's just going to be so bad. Either way, I think we're going to enjoy it. My prediction was that it was going to be an espionage episode. I think my exact phrasing was someone will be doing some spying on something.
Very specific.
Yeah.
Someone
I
will be
used to
doing
be-
some spying on something for some reason, and maybe the message will self-destruct.
Possibly. I used to be so much better at these general predictions. Had that kind of nailed. Well, next week we get to watch this memorable. If nothing else, you can say this is absolutely a memorable episode. We're going to watch it here next week. I sure hope you're here with us again, just like this week. If you are joining us on YouTube, please make sure you're subscribed. You've hit the bell so you see all the stuff that comes out. Comment down below and hit that little thumbs up like button. If you're on a podcasting app, hit the stars or the recommend or the thumbs up, whatever is on there. And if you're able to write a review, we sure love reading and sharing those. So go ahead and write a review also. If you're watching this on our Patreon, thank you for being here. We could not be doing this without you. So thank you so much. And a special shout out to our Council Chambers tier of Patreon that join us for our recordings and have been participating along with us here today. It's great to have you. And so with that, we'll see you here next week. It's been great having...
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah. What's up, Brent? What's going on?
Hey, so, you know, we do this end of the show joke thing. Well, I've thought of a way we can make it better.
Oh, thank God. How?
We need to call David Werner, call his agent, whatever, and get him to come do some of these with us. Write them for us, teach us how to act them a little bit better. He would elevate this whole thing for us.
He totally would. But Brent, David Werner passed away.
What?
Yeah, like 3 years ago.
Oh no. Did we know?
Yeah, it happened like during our first watch. We recorded this episode and like we even had to put like a little thing at the beginning that, hey, we recorded this before we found out he passed away. So like we're talking about him like he's alive. So like as we were recording, he passed away.
Man, that's heavy. Well, R.I.P. David Werner.
Indeed.
Oh man.
I mean, we're not some deep space franchise. This station is about something.
This one did not go the way I thought it would when I first started writing it. Yeah, so I started writing that whole ending and it just kind of kept going and I was like, there's no way I can recover from this. Jeez. So let me just say that.
Yeah, like, oh, there it is. Just say the thing.
Nothing. There's nothing. But you know what? This is where we need you guys. Hey, here's a new thing. Council Chambers, folks. If you guys have an idea for the ending joke,
oh God,
message us. It's okay.
Yeah.
If you guys ever have an idea, like, because here's the thing. They said, Ben says right here, good night. And remember, only the penitent podcaster may pass. Yeah. Dude, that would have been a great reference. Take it back to an Indiana Jones thing.
Right. Absolutely.
Like, that'd been great. We could have done something with that. I just didn't think about it, you know? Yeah. So and it'll be a game. Jeff and I may not see it, or we may pretend not to see it because it was not good. Or we just legit may not see it.
Or we might have a better, terrible idea that's not actually better at all, but we're just in on it. So.
or we've already written it and we're not changing it at this
It's
point.
just like it's already there. Like,
Yeah.
how much work it is to like rewrite.
But also, you never know when it might find its way in, and you just wrote our ending joke for us. So there you go.
Yeah. Also, if you have ideas on ways we can end it without an ending joke,
you want to change it?
I'm just opening the door for it.
500 and some odd episodes. How many? You know this number, Jeff. How many episodes is it right now?
So I think that this episode that we just recorded is either our 268th or 269th episode that we've recorded together.
That's crazy. And at least 250 of those have, not even, probably more than that. 206, no, more than that.
All of them.
265 episodes have a dumbass joke at the end.
Yeah, we only got away with a joke out of it one time. For most of the first season, before we decided to do the dad joke thing, we had a whole thing of me trying to say "live long and prosper." And
that's right.
Yeah, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Man, I get why people hated us. Burning my Star Trek references less than half an hour, getting the "live long and prosper" joke in. Yeah.
Yep. You know, Jeff, something I am appalled by doing the re-listens to our earlier episodes is the number of times that we would say, now it's time to compare it to Star Trek. Now it's time to find the Star Trek. It wasn't Star Trek like message.
It was Star Trek.
It was the Star Trek message. Like, I'm like, F you, dude.
Right? Yeah.
Do you have any idea? So
yeah, I feel like we're starting to veer from that. I think on this one we might have called it the Star Trek like or the sci-fi message. Like we started to waffle a little bit.
I try to be really specific to say it's a sci-fi message because you and I mean, honestly, it was through these conversations in this early episode that helped us tailor our phrasing for it. You know, it took us a long time, and it really was once we got into Stargate that was like, it's not Star Trek like message, it's sci-fi, because it's not just unique to Star Trek. That's the thing. Messaging is not unique to Star Trek. It is something that this particular genre can do very, very well, more so than many other genres.
Exactly.
You know, you're not seeing, you know, police procedurals do stuff like this that have like the deep, like they'll hold up a mirror to society, I guess.
Yeah.
They'll literally rip their story out of the headlines.
Generally not going to show you how to be a better human.
No, but they might show you how to get away with shit. Or not.
I always felt like when they started doing all those procedurals, they should have been like, oh, thank God they used bleach here on the crime scene. We can pick up all the DNA so much more easily now. They just fed a bunch of just false information.
That would have been fun.
Oh, darn it. They were bare hand. They didn't have any gloves when they did this. Oh, now I can't capture any evidence.
Right. All right, Jeff.
Yeah.
I think it's about that time to jump out of here and go. So, hey, thank you guys so much for joining us. You guys are amazing. Drop 65 down in the comments below. Let us know you were here. And we'll see you guys next time on Babylon for Eyes. It starts picking up soon, right, Jeff?
No. We have a little bit more of a...
We got some good episodes in between, though.
We have
there's a handful of good episodes like we hit.
We have Voice in the Wilderness coming up. And we're doing that one. Have we decided how we're doing that one?
Well, we said our first round, the first watch as a podcast, you stop and do it each one.
Right.
But every other episode, you just do them together.
Yeah.
Like we've said that since back then. So I don't know how we can
not
go back on that. You know, this would be a pretty poor podcast watching the first episode by itself.
Yeah,
like for the second time.
For second time.
We'd be like, okay, well,
oh, you know what? I wasn't. God, are we really that far in the first season? So yeah, we've got actually got some good stuff.
15.
We got
14,
Eyes,
15.
then we have Legacies.
Yeah.
Which is a great one. Then we have Voice in the Wilderness.
Yeah.
Babylon Squared.
Babylon Squared. We got Quality of Mercy. I remember liking that episode a lot.
Same.
We got Chrysalis was, I don't remember if I liked Chrysalis or if it's just, it's the season ender with a cliffhanger with Delenn. So
I think that's kind of what we thought. It was just like, oh, it did the stuff. But it's going to be fascinating to watch this time, just knowing all the things that grow out of that.
And then Sheridan comes in, and he's gonna look so young.
I know, right? His
He's gonna
boofy
look
hair.
so yeah. And you know what? It's here's the thing. Seeing those early episodes with Sheridan will be like revisiting season 1 again a little bit. Like, he said this thing here, and it pays off there, and does you know. And then we gotta slog through that first half of season 2.
I'm excited to do that though.
You say that.
Well, because like there's a part of me that's like maybe on a rewatch they're great. I don't think so.
I mean, it would explain people
getting as
how they
upset as
defend.
they did.
Yeah. It would really explain that if that turns out to be the case. So,
but yeah,
maybe. Okay,
All right,
I got
let's get out of here.
enough of these hillbilly goodbyes, man. We got to get out of here. Talk to you later.
Yep.